Alright guys, back in another video, and this time we're going to be going into a deck that I tried not to play for a while. Then I ended up just saying screw it, and I did really well at the regional this past weekend. And I was playing Mecha Frieza. Everybody should know what he does by now. If you don't know what he does, attack, draw a card, and then he has the reduce the extra cards in your hand from 1 on the first turn, on both players' turns by 1 on this side, and you can only activate 1 extra card per turn. On Awaken, untap 1, draw 1. On this side, he reduces 2 cost less to 0, or 1 cost less to 0. And whenever you do activate an extra card for the first time each turn, you're gonna rest the battle card, which is nice, and still a tight draw card. So super good card. Probably gonna get banned or touched somehow. 2 Planet Vegeta. This is a very good utility card, and this card was a very good card to start with, but after turn 1-2, it becomes a dead card, essentially. Not really dead, but like not as useful. You're not really going to do anything when you're at 4 less life with this. You're just going to charge it, unless you can hard cast it just to search out something to help you win the game. But usually that doesn't happen. 1 Bloodlust, just one of the best cards. Honestly, I didn't use it the entire weekend, so didn't get sacky with it. The card's too good not to play. 4 Final Flash. This card's godly. I was playing 3 originally. Bumped it up to 4, so I had space on the side. This card's super good, and it's usually how you win the game. Either by letting your opponent overcommit, or you just shotgun up to 100k. 4 Power of Super Saiyan. This card's silly with this deck. I thought 3 was fine at first, but I went up to 4, and I loved it. So, and you never really get tired of seeing the card because you can just use it for a hard negate effect too. So, card just cycles cards and rests the battle card and triggers Bergamo, and it's just nutty. Or it's just a regular negate. 4 United Symbol. This card is super good. It basically is the reason why the deck is insane. You draw 2 cards, and if your opponent's tapped out, you get to play a U9 guy from deck, which is very powerful. Basically, one of the cards you're mulliganing for. You want to see this card. 1 copy of Final Spirit Cannon. This card was really good, but I did see it when I needed it, and if I didn't need it at the time, I just charged it. So this card is it's bonkers at triggering Bergamo. So what you do, if you don't know what it does, you basically are going to rest an energy or any card they have by paying 0 on the backside, and you try to tap them out with Bergamo. If they had 3 open, now they have 0 open. Super good. 4 Monster Super Combo and 4 Bojack. These are like my favorite cards to play currently in all reality. So I pivot off these really hard, and I don't kind of rush it. I just wait until my opponent decides they finally want to attack me. And you can be aggressive with it and actually play it on your turn, which is not bad. But he's your Aegis guy. Draw a card, pitch a blue-yellow card, and restand. So pitch extra copies of himself and or Sora on Hop. And yeah, or you can pitch as a Monster Super Combo, but I really try not to do that. I didn't do that all weekend, so which is nice. Triggers Bergamo as well. Very nice cards. To the U9 engine, I played 2 Basil, perfect number, 2 Sora Hop, perfect number, and 3 Shapil. These were actually very important. All of them. The ratio was actually very nice. There was only one other time where I felt like I was going to need this, but I actually just didn't draw any copies of it, so they were all on deck, so I was fine. But played these from deck to end the game, which was very nice. But yeah, I like the engine a lot. There are other ways to play the engine by just like cutting this card because people don't start up not liking it because people are playing around it. But that's fine. If it makes your opponent play awkward, then it's done its job. 4 Bergamo to round it out. This is like the best card in the deck against some matchups, but sometimes it's not that great. Like Dark Broly is really not that good against it, but it's a 20k beater for 2 tapping your opponent out, which is nice. To the Planet Engine, 1 Trunks Time Irregular. I'll explain this a little in detail now. So most people don't think this card warrants a spot, but it was very nice for me. So your first 2 turns, you end up getting 3 and drop a lot of times. You play 1 United Symbol on your first turn, going first, and then you'll play a Zamasu Super Combo, Arrival, and Bojack on your next turn or whatever. It doesn't really matter however you go about it. If you're defending yourself and your opponent's being aggressive, you're going to get 3 and drop a lot of times by your turn 2, and then you get... And I start this off playing it most times. So, really good card. I would not have took it out of my deck. Probably one of the actually best targets to search off a planet because it's generic and very useful. 2 Son Goku Absolute Annihilation. This card was super good. But the thing is, it doesn't really come up in every matchup, but it is a big threat. Your opponent has to be aware of it. And yeah, but honestly, I didn't play against any matchups that, in this tournament specifically, that this card was like super necessary. Like I probably could have just sided it for this event, but that's just because of the matchups I played against. We'll go into detail about that at the end of the video. 2 Bardoks. I thought I was playing 3 for some reason. I just finally looked back through my deck list. I was playing 2. I do usually play 3, but I did cut it down to 2 due to my teammates explaining that I really just needed 2 copies. It's very nice. Kind of changed up the deck to try to trim it down from 54 cards, and that was one of the cards I actually cut down to 2. I didn't realize I actually cut it down to 2, but yeah, this card is one of my favorite things to do. Starts off planet as well. And then we got 3 Mecha Frieza Robotic Riposte. This card was super good. It's a turn stopper against some decks that can't do anything. The safest thing they can attack with is their leader first because it's a monster super combo. So first attack, and it's the safest attack for them to actually push pressure on with you. You riposte it, and then usually they just don't want to play anything because of an attack, because as soon as they read something, I can Bergamo and attack them out. So a few times they did fall into that, and it was their downfall, and they died immediately the next turn, which was very important to note, because once you're on your backside, and you can start firing off United symbols while they're tapped out for Basil and Chapils, and just being able to swing that many times, especially with all the just like Overwhelm and stuff like that. This card was super good. 3 was perfect though. One of my favorite cards the entire day. I played this card almost every match, if not every match. This card ended up being way better than I like. In theory, it didn't seem like it would come up a lot, but once you would establish Bojack and you play this, they don't attack this. They have to go after my leader or after something else on board. They usually just go after my leader because I'm tapped out. But Bojack restand, and he clears boards, clears just singular things, and he keeps attacking. He gets around to riposte because he's a unison. So he was super good. That's all I have to say. One cooler, this card came up a few times. Not that important in the main deck, could side it, but it was nice whenever I needed it. 1 Kai, super necessary. Just helps you in the game whenever your opponent thinks they're safe, and they try to like keep themselves at the perfect life total, or they just assume you always have this card, and sometimes you don't. They just go down to 1 because they are assuming that I'm gonna try to go in with game with this, but that in turn allows me to pay an energy for a Final Flash rather than this, so that's fine with me. Another one of Android 18 Steadfast Technique. This card just pitches dead extra cards and gives a 6k boost, so it allows you to combo up to defend yourself. Sometimes whenever you're on your awkward turn, going second, whenever they're actually pushing for game, like not for game, but like for damage to push you down to 3. This did help me a few times to get me an easy 11k to get me over a 20k swing for double strike. Very nice. And very obvious cards. Fighting His Fates, one of the MVPs. The dual attack 25k is super impressive, and along with being able to throw on like simple Final Flashes for 40k dual attack, and you can slam a chomp on it. Well, Spring Kai in this instance, and this is just one of the best offensive one-cost 40ks and or board wipes. And you can also play it on your opponent's turn if they give yourself their triple attack like they did when I was playing Mecha. Yeah, and this just stops them from attacking me with their leader, which is very nice. 51 cards, very nice. Thought it was 50 for some reason. I had to recount my deck. Tokens, but second cooler just helps you when you're playing against decks that really play counterattacks and they're really trying to stall the game out. 2 Giant Ball. This is for Android 18 mil, Dark Broly, anything that really wants to put something that they need to attack to get their triggers. This is really good, especially anything that has dual attack. This also hurts those, so it's really nice. These are for Dark Broly as well, and or a few other decks. Just turn stoppers. You hit that -1, they can't attack you. It also has Wing Con itself. I did get these in time before the tournament. I did end up with a play set, which was one of my goals for the event. 3 Zamasu the Eliminator. I did not get the Sighted in because none of the decks I played against, I really needed it. But I do play Sora Hop and stuff like that to charge, and I couldn't just charge one of these if I really feel like I needed to get myself a counterplay on like baby units and stuff like that. Super good card. I can't wait to use this inside of Icarus and Gohan and other blue-yellow variants. Removal. Did decide this in the entire time. I realized quickly while playing this deck that going for face whenever you overwhelm that turn usually is the correct path, unless you're clearing board. Because usually I clear board with my Unison. So if they really protect their stuff or trying to, they're not going to be successfully due to the Unison being able to pop things and just swing 20k at each one of them. Or I can just board wipe by -3 and then usually let them die anyways if I start swinging with them before I do my +1, +0, plus or -3. So they just let them die. So in this specific deck, I didn't need this card, but I know I said I did it once, but it wasn't that necessary. I did side on one of these. It came up once, and yeah, it was pretty good. It's a good card. Spawns a token, and that's what these are for. And you get a blocker. 2 Nimbus. Decided in this once. Just depends on the matchup. Like if they're playing like spammy attack, they will play a lot of dual attacks like in the mirror match. If they're playing the blue-yellow variant, this will just stop them from doing those multiple dual attacks. And then I played this little spicy tech. If you don't know what it does, Son Gohan, Trusted Ally. When this card's pitched, if your leader card's yellow, if they, like say for example they make me discard for an attack for like Topo or something, I pitch this. It comes into play and I draw a card, which is really cool. And it's just a 1-drop draw card either way. So it's a good card. We'll go ahead and get to the matchups. We'll talk about those. So round 1, I played against Mecha Kabura. I beat him. Round 2, I played against Vegex. For some reason, he didn't see any Koitsukais, which was pretty good for me. I 2-0'd him. I 2-0'd the first opponent as well. It was pretty simple. Just put things on board that weren't 4-drop or less that were really that important, and just swing with 5 costs or higher and Bojacks. And my Unison's dual attack was really important, and it also helps clear the board and keep those pesky attackers off the board. Most of my games ended by me swinging with multiple attacks to get them down to 1 to push them to 0 to make sure that they died. I only double striked a few times. Round 3, I played against King Cold. 2-0'd my buddy Jaleel. Just to feel like he couldn't do very much most of the turn. He also misses Unison on turn 1, which is very important for them. So that was a pretty decent matchup, but he just couldn't finish the game. Once he got me to 3 life, or I put myself to 3, he couldn't get me past 3, and Unison never could stick on board. So because I was just making sure I killed it. Round 4, I played against King Vegeta. 2-0'd him. My buddies, one of my guys that I played against a long time ago in Team Wars. He didn't seem to draw very well. He didn't imposing presence me once, which is very I assumed he was going to be able to play against me. He didn't play against me once. I just ended up dual attack Bardock him and Kaiing him twice. Happened to see this card both games. Very fortunate. Round 5, I was about to play against Daryl, but we discussed between all the people that were in the could potentially get first place that we all had our invite except for Daryl. So I get conceded without us really playing, and there's guys' deck profile. And I know you guys seen on my channel if you haven't already. It's a really good video. And yeah, so I technically went undefeated 8-0 in games. Round 5, that would have been fun to play against Daryl. But shout out to Team Ahoy for always giving me good advice and telling me to just go ahead and suck it up and play Mecha instead of just trying my best not to play the meta. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.